name's Karen Redrobe, and I'm the Elliot and Roslyn Jaffe Professor of Film Studies and also the Department Chair for the History of Art Department. I always loved school. I grew up in a very poor environment, and I felt like from as early as I can remember, I thought about school as something that could maybe open a bigger world to me and enable me to go to different places and meet other people from other countries and things like that. I was also an avid field hockey player, so I did that all the way through college. I was very politically engaged, so I was one of the co-chairs of the Youth CND movement, the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament in Manchester, and was very involved with the miners' strike, which was going on when I was a teenager. So I'm in the History of Art department, but I've actually never taken an art history class, which I'm quite proud of. I was an English major as an undergraduate at Cambridge University, and there was no opportunity there to study film, and in fact it was quite conservative. We were only allowed to read literature written on the British Isles from 1066 to 1945 with almost no women writers. So then I went to Princeton, which I thought was pretty radical, which people now think is hilarious because it's pretty conservative. But I also studied English for my Ph.D. and was planning to be a Victorianist and was going to write a dissertation on the marginal characters who disappear partway through Victorian novels. And I was thinking about them as vanishing women. And it happened that a Swiss scholar called Elizabeth Bronfen, who focuses on German studies but also film, was visiting Princeton. And she said, well, if you're thinking about vanishing and magic, you should think about film, because a lot of the magicians became filmmakers. And so I became really interested at that point in film, both as a mass medium and as a political medium, and a medium that could have multiple different meanings, and thinking through those kinds of questions. And that really took me on my path. And by the time I finished my dissertation, there was no literature left in it, and it was an entirely film dissertation, and I had to work out how to become a film scholar and teacher, having had all my training in the field of English literature. I did not have a lot of exposure to film when I was younger, but what I did have, when I was 10, I moved next door to an old lady. She was about 75 at the time. And it turned out that she had been an actress with Max Reinhardt and had worked with Brecht and had been in a number of early films and a lot of experimental plays. And most of her family had been killed in the Holocaust, but she was a Holocaust survivor. But she adopted me. She came around when I was 10 and said, I feel like you and I are sisters. And she then took me, until I left home at 18, she took me almost every night to the theater. And we went to the art cinema together, more than anybody else. Her name was Gerda Redlich. She profoundly shaped my sense of existing between all of these worlds. And when people now ask me what I specialize in, I often say that I'm a scholar of the in-between. I'm very interested in the relationship among different art forms. And I feel like film is a really amazing medium for that, because it just sucks everything in, and it seems like whatever it finds, it uses in some way or other, and it seems to absorb the world and throw it back at the world in a different way. One thing that's very important to me about being a film scholar is that I work on something that everybody watches, and that there's a bridge there between the university and the ordinary world, and a way to start a conversation about thought and how we think and how we perceive the world that is perhaps more difficult to do from other kinds of subjects. And it's one of the things I treasure about this field.